would propel a man to tattoo exit only above his asshole, especially when you're the size he is and look like that? Do you really need to have written instructions for people not to you in the ass? Does there have to be a written warning? What the is going on with that? And who are you making that statement to when you're walking down the street? You're so anti-homosexual that you have exit only tattooed above your asshole. Who's gonna know? Don't him in the ass.
Welcome, everybody. It's another exciting edition of The Sports Hole. I'm your host, Luke. With me, as always, XFL Jim, rock and roll Matty Goldberg. How you guys doing?
What up, boys? I love that. I love it. I love the music behind that little bit of narration. I loved it. It makes it so much more intense. And B,
right.
I love it when we get like the end of the intro song with a little guitar solo.
Yeah, that was unplanned. I let my mistakes shine through, and
never got there.
Sometimes it just works. A little happy accident, if you will.
That was
you know what?
Moment.
You know what else? We're a couple days late, but let's do this.
It's your birthday today, Matty. It's your birthday today, Matty. Rock and roll and celebrate. Celebrate, we lose control and you cut.
All right, that's right. A couple days ago, celebrating the birth of rock and roll Matty Goldberg.
I thought that was like the Ludvig Borga rap song.
Big ups for Matty.
The what? You thought it was what? Oh,
that's Ludvig Borga did a rap song. I thought you found it. You're like, fuck it, let's just play it. But thank you.
Yeah.
I had a record like that when I was like a little kid, but it was like, hey Matthew, it's your birthday. And I used to play it over and over. I was like 5 or 6. So that's like, I guess nowadays with the internet, you can just like give somebody's name.
Yeah, I actually think I played this one last year for you.
Oh, okay. Well, next year I'll now know.
And you should look it up because the video is awesome too. It's just a bunch
YouTube?
of rando. Yeah, it's on YouTube. What'd you do? What'd you get up to, Matthew?
I don't do much. I mean, I just kind of chilled. My family came over. We had some Italian food.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what'd you eat, Matty?
Just chicken parm, and then we watched my brother-in-law, my nephew watched the college championship, and that was great. It was like bonding with my nephew who loves
Did you
sport.
have your ice cream cake?
No, we only did cupcakes.
I thought that was your thing.
Well, I'm trying to live as long as I can. I want 20 more birthdays. So
Matty's on this health kick right now.
I like
it. I like it. We're entering the health arc of Matty Goldberg. He's glowing.
Time in Dallas, Matty.
I'm trying to get to UFL. You know what I'm saying?
Will we get the Matty G 6-pack?
Dude, what are you talking about?
Oh!
Wow! Oh man!
There, ladies.
Color me jealous,
fellas. If your ladies watch the show,
you're already there.
Have them skip that part.
Yeah, they're gonna need a change of panties.
Yeah, you're gonna lose your girl.
Slide right out of her chair after that.
So, I'm not that much of a birthday person. A lot of people wish me happy birthday. A lot of people come out of the woodwork to wish me a happy birthday. Some people you like to hear from, some people you don't, and then you just kind of like.
Who wished you happy birthday that you wish they hadn't? By name.
I'm not gonna mention any names because. But there's a dude I went to high school with that he's just the worst. And he hits me up every year and it's just like, he wants to talk to me, calls me.
Why don't you get along or like this guy?
I don't know. I just not my dude, but like he thinks we're best buddies. So, and then there's, I don't know. It's at a certain age, you're not as excited. Jim's around the age where you still like rage.
30s, you were raging in your 30s?
By about 38, you should be over.
Okay.
Like if you're over 38 and you're like, this is my birthday week or my birthday weekend, you need help.
I
Feel me?
disagree, but
Okay,
not
fair
like
enough.
I use it as an opportunity to get some people together. That's really it.
Yeah, that's
Like
fun.
I give no shits. Like you'll never, I don't think I've ever done like it's my birthday post or anything like that. Like
Sure.
putting like old ticket stubs up there and looking
Yeah.
like a thirsty hoe waiting for happy birthdays to come in. You would never see that from me.
Well, you know what? The reason why I put up the ticket stubs,
Oh, you did that. I didn't know.
I don't know if you're taking shots at me, but I was like, okay, I never post anything unless it's my friend Danny like tagging me. So I haven't posted anything in 2 years. So I'm like, I'm not really loving my looks. So like things I'm proud of, like those are great memories, man. They're great fucking memories. I don't know. Is that cringe? I don't even
No,
know.
I'm fucking with you,
No.
like always. Come on.
I don't know. I mean, maybe somebody's like, oh my God, that's so cheesy. But I'm like, let me do something different. I'm like, here's some of my favorite memories.
No, that's cool.
Like,
I think those are legit fun memories. You
and
know?
like, it's wild to have something from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You went to that the ink is still kind of there because some of them, like the ink is gone and it sucks.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
wing one from 98 that like the ink is like just barely there, but
You got to put it in like a photo album and then it'll
and then
secure
the ECW. I mean, how many people can say they were an ECW at the fucking the pinnacle of like
Well, you
I
and
wish
me
I would have
can,
kept
so-
some ticket stubs. I wish that's something that I
Exactly.
would have done. I
So
wish I would have
screw
kept
you,
ticket stubs
Luke.
from certain things. Like I wish I would have kept ticket stubs for when I went to see the LA Wildcats for the XFL in
There
2020.
you go. I
That's
mean,
the
like,
only stub you care about.
That's one of the main ones, but like the UFL championship game, the USFL, not just stubs, but like anything from that time. Like I have a T-shirt from
yeah.
stuff like that, but ticket stubs it's an easy
They
thing
don't
to
have
collect and like
anymore
store, and
because-
then exactly everything's on your phone.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
that's
a great
right.
memory.
Yeah.
Like everybody I knew kept their ticket stubs.
Yeah, that's what you did. I used to have a
Everybody.
grip. I used to work at radio, so I was going to every concert. I
Don't
wish
you
I
wish
would
you
have.
kept them though?
Some of them, yeah, the ones I really appreciated, I
Of
kept for sure, and they're
course.
back somewhere tucked away safely in
Because
Michigan.
they're memories that you're like, holy shit, like that was, I'm at my age, I'm reflecting at my life backwards, unfortunately.
I was gonna say, Maddie, I don't know about
Yeah.
you, but if I see something like that, if I had a ticket stub, you could kind of see it, and then like you're immediately put back in that day.
Maddie,
Like
if I look to my
like
right,
that.
I can see one of the Ween stubs from the shows we went to a few years ago. So
exactly. But wouldn't it be cooler to have a physical one?
No, I have a physical.
Oh,
we
okay.
had physical ones for that.
You know what's amazing? Like, okay, so the one from 2000,
Yeah.
that was at a place called Irving Plaza, which is I'd say 2,000 people in New York City, and it was sold out. And I got there, and I go, listen, I don't have a ticket. Did anybody like bring a ticket? Like, I really like if there's anything like, and I didn't know this. They're like, well, what we do is 50 people. If the first 50 people we have tickets, you can buy at the door. And so I got a ticket that night, and it was amazing.
Wait, what do you mean they held 50 tickets back?
Yeah, they hold 50 tickets for the first.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they're like, well, actually, if you get in line, you can go. And I was so lucky, and it was such a great show. And like I remember like I'm just gonna ask. They're probably gonna say no, but give it a shot. And I lucked out. And
yeah,
that's like a memory I have. And it was like a hot night. It was a really cool night, but all those shows I remember, it brings me right back.
Yeah, it's great. Jim, did you get to go any cool concerts living on BFE?
There's not really a ton of great concerts. Like the ones that I would go to, obviously there's like country artists that come out here sometime. There's a couple that I want to go to.
Yeah.
But I'm probably not going to have time or money for that and other stuff. But it was like my parents would go to concerts, so I'd go with them. So it'd be like classic rock concerts.
Yeah.
So we saw
that's fun though.
Warner, Styx. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was super fun.
Okay,
my first concert was the Monkees.
That'd be a fun one.
Because they were playing at like a state fair type situation.
Yeah, the Monkees are great.
What'd you ask, Maddie?
There's a band from Nebraska that was pretty big in the 90s. They were like rap metal.
Oh.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Look, Luke knows who they are. I'll give you this hint. They're named after like it's a number or numbers.
I actually have no idea.
The band Anal Cunt has a song about
I
I got nothing.
311 sucks.
didn't know they were from Nebraska. That's
Yeah, they're from
funny.
Nebraska.
I also didn't. Never heard of them.
You
Wait,
never
are
heard
you
of 311?
You don't appreciate the rap stylings of one S.A. Martinez?
They were way before like Limp Bizkit, and they were one of the first rap. I say 95, 96. Isn't
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
Maddie,
wild?
they started in
song,
88.
Amber is the color of your energy
Yeah,
about
Amber-
you.
Yeah, they were huge, Jim. They were like a top 10 band for about a year or so in 95.
I got to admit, Down came on the other day, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I was kind of jamming to it a little bit.
Put on 311 sucks real fast.
From Omaha.
Ooh, can we?
Yeah.
You think we'll get a? I'll find it. If
I think if we talk amongst it, we won't get a strike.
If you do 10 seconds or less, you're good. 10 seconds or less.
The song's about 10 seconds.
That's
you
the
think
rule I
Anal
found.
Cunt stuff is even like copyright. Oh, there's an actual
You gotta go
music video
AC
for this.
311
Okay, hold on,
sucks.
guys. Hold on here. Anal Cunt 311 sucks.
But that was the big Nebraska band. You're making fun of it.
So it was just the guy faking
And then
S.A.
at the end it
Martinez's
goes,
I like it.
rap song.
it goes, you fucking suck.
Now I admit that song came on the other day, and I'm like, hey,
It's a good song. It's a banger. It's so wild that Jim's never heard of him because I figured like everybody in
With
Nebraska.
my feet in the ground,
No.
drowned by the.
I mean, they were a legitimate top 10.
Hey, we're gonna get a text from Jim tonight, like, man, this 311 band slaps.
They were as big as who would they be as big as today?
I mean, I don't know.
Like Limp
There's
Bizkit.
nothing comparable today,
Yeah.
but they were like a top selling band for a few
Yeah,
years. I think they had a
absolutely.
couple albums that were massive, you know.
But yeah, so
Nick Hexum on guitar. How do
Yeah.
I know two people in that band? That's
big Ween
great.
fans. Also, what I say about it too is like Turnstile. People make fun of Turnstile, say they sound like a bad 311.
Oh, whatever happened to them? You were really into them, and now you're not.
Okay, so they just came with a new song yesterday. It's fucking terrible.
So they're done. You're over them.
What?
Yeah,
He's done with them.
they got rid of the guy that was a problem that wrote all the songs. They got
Yeah.
rid of, and that they replaced it with a chick. And I'm like, okay, now
Oh, and then I remember you getting really upset when like the singer was like dancing in a mesh shirt or something like that.
yeah. Well, it was just I don't mind that. I think it's cool and it's funny and it's hardcore, but I just felt like they lost their ways. You know, like they wanted to be this like millennial hardcore band of like progressive politics.
Right. It's
It doesn't
you know,
really
here's the
fit.
thing is that commodification has just been sped up and on steroids, you know,
Yeah.
since the internet really got rolling in the early 2000s. And now I think if Turnstile had come out like say in 1991, they would have been fine because they wouldn't have had to get rid of
No.
a problematic guitarist for stupid tweets.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have had to like, you know, make sure they, you know, walk the line so they could be played during Taco Bell commercials.
Yeah.
And then they started getting their pictures. Here's where it all went wrong. When Limp Bizkit was doing duets with Christina Aguilera, at, like one of the Video Music Awards, it was like it. That's it. When people
Well, I
thought that
think,
shit
you
was
know-
okay, no, that's not okay. You do
Yeah.
not fraternize with those fucking people. Those are the people you are rebelling against. You do not
The other
go
thing
hang
is-
out with Demi
yeah.
Lovato. Yeah.
This guy had a good point too that music is no longer regionalized. Like there were sounds, like Minneapolis had a sound, San Francisco had a sound, New York City had a sound, you know, Florida had the death metal. Like there was areas that were like that was the sound, and because of the internet, there's no more regional music per
Well,
se.
there's not a lot of I'll, for lack of a better phrase, paying dues and grinding it out in these small clubs for
No,
years. Music is now like a direct to consumer thing. So
yeah,
if you and I got together and wrote a few songs and produced them and we put them right out into the world,
yeah.
if that got momentum, then we're a band now.
I
It's
was
not
listening.
like those sounds that were getting developed in these clubs in Seattle or
No,
Chicago,
yeah. I mean, Seattle has a sound.
yeah.
You're never gonna feel. You're never gonna experience an area that has like that sound.
Yeah. I never got that. I was just a little kid during all that. I mean,
There's
I
no
saw it.
311 ruled the world at one time.
What I do got and what I've seen like the music industry do take away is like I feel like mega stars were a much bigger thing back then too.
Yeah,
Like because it was so centralized, like the just pop culture in general was so much more centralized than on the internet.
yeah,
It felt to me like the stars were bigger.
yeah. I also think like you miss like Napster and that changed everything.
No, no. Like right when I was in middle school, Napster, like
Okay, then.
LimeWire,
Okay.
I had that.
All right.
Jimmy, you ever listen to the band Tool?
Yes,
Okay. So when I was growing up, Tool was like
love Tool.
just this enigmatic
Yeah.
thing, Nobody knew much about them.
Never
You
show
know,
themselves in videos.
yeah, you'd never really get a clear picture of Maynard's face or anything. He'd be in wigs or that. And now he's like on every other week, he's on Joe Rogan, talking about jujitsu or whatever, making wine. He's promoting his wine company all the time
Yep.
too, which is like good for him. But it's just as far as having some distance between the artist and the fans, there's just almost none of that anymore. And now the artist gets shoved in the fans' face. The artists get commodified to a whole other level than they were. Like Taylor Swift, I can maybe name a couple of her songs, and she is worth more money than like Madonna.
And
Think,
it's not just because it's not just like you could be an artist, but then you're not just an artist. Now you're also pushing clothes. You're pushing,
Yeah,
you're pushing brands. Like
And we wanna
you're
know,
becoming a
like-
huge brand.
and people want to know like who is T Swift voting for? It's like who gives a shit?
Oh
don't
yeah,
care.
yeah. And the fact that I don't know, like there's a really funny show on HBO. It only ran a couple seasons called The Other Two, and it was like about this little pop Justin Bieber type guy who blows up, and then his brother and sister are sort of in the shadows. And it's always funny because he never really makes albums. He does everything but make music.
You know what's crazy about Bieber? It's like I really got into like Leif Garrett's career just as a failure it is. And I sent a tweet like years ago that like he either can be like a mega star, like he's either gonna be like Timberlake, who also fell apart,
Yeah.
or he's gonna go Leif Garrett, and he's fast heading toward the Leif Garrett.
I don't know where.
Like,
I don't know. I mean, I don't. I think he got caught up in some of that Diddy shit too. That's what a lot of people really think.
Yeah, he probably is all fucked up for that. But Leif Garrett literally was like getting arrested trying to buy heroin, and
Has Bieber been in trouble with the law or anything like that? I don't think so.
What's that?
I don't think has he had trouble with the law and all that?
Who, Leif Garrett?
No, Bieber.
No, Bieber just seems very depressed.
Yeah.
He's losing his looks. He doesn't look happy. I think probably a lot of, I mean, I don't know what happened, but I'm sure a lot of weird shit happened when he was a child. And unfortunately, I feel for the man. So, sometimes you get put in positions you don't want to be put in and you roll with it, but you're not really ready to handle it. And then it hits you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah. It's
I hope he finds inner peace, but I don't think he's going to be a performer of any sort, and he should probably step away completely.
I feel like he kind of has. I mean, I don't think he's
But
released anything now in a while.
Speaking of HBO, two shows that are interesting. I've been watching the Celtics show, which is really good, called The Dynasty, which is a Bill Simmons thing, which is just a really good, informative doc about the Celtics. We're right now into the Larry Bird era with the Pistons, which is great.
Oh, don't break
A
my
lot of
heart.
Isaiah Thomas, a lot of how much Bill Lambert's a piece of shit.
That shit was so funny though. When Isaiah Thomas just said he was another white guy.
Well, they covered for about 20 minutes the last episode, and it was great. And they're also I watched the first episode of the Red Sox Netflix, the 2024 year like blog, like it's like Hard Knocks with the Red Sox.
Oh boy.
And it is embarrassing. Like I just can't believe some of the guys they have. This dude, Jared Duran, he's got a Jeep. After a game, he can't get it to start. He's working on it for 2 fucking hours in the parking lot. And this other guy, Tristan Costas, is a first baseman. He calls a AAA to like, can we get help? And they're like, this is a limousine service. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Wait, do they literally show the guy working on his car for 2 hours?
I kid you not. And I'm like, this is embarrassing. No wonder why they stink. And
I wish you would have told me. We should have been covering that this week.
That would have been awesome.
Do you imagine a guy, he's your first baseman, he's like, hey, can we get help with a tow? And they're like, yeah, we can't do that. He's like, what do you mean? This is a AAA. They're like, no, this is a limousine service. And he's like, oh, sorry. And I'm like,
it's not even a AAA member calling AAA.
Yeah, this guy literally worked on his car. And the guy, Tristan Costas, he's like, you know, your hands are worth millions of dollars. You sure you want to do that? And he's like, yeah, I do this all the time. Like he's trying to act all macho. And I'm like, this is where Wade Boggs drank 80 beers on a fucking plane. I mean, this is where Pedro Martinez drilled fucking Derek Jeter and Soriano in the same inning. Yeah. Like, what's going on here? But it's well done. It's very well done.
That's hilarious. Wait, it's on HBO?
Netflix.
Oh, Netflix.
Yeah, so Celtics is on Max, and the last episode was, you'd love it, Luke, because it's kind of like the Pistons are coming, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And the bad boys are coming, and they're gonna beat the shit out of Larry Bird, and it's very informative. Where the Red Sox thing is just kind of like, are you like, I don't know.
Well, it sounds. I did like the Celtics growing up a lot, though, too.
Yeah.
So I always I like that parquet floor, man.
Well, the Larry Bird era is fantastic.
Oh yeah, it was really.
And there's a story they all went to because what's his name? Walton was on the team. They all went to see the Dead, and they all got to sit on the stage and see the Dead. And they were talking about how like Jerry Garcia pulled Larry Bird backstage, and they had like a 10-minute conversation, just the two of them.
Did he bring Larry Bird out to sing "Touch of Grey"?
No, they were on, but they were on stage with the band, like sitting, drinking beer.
Did they enjoy it? Because the thing is with the Dead, well, the Dead is like by far the best jam band, quote unquote, because they actually wrote songs. But so if you're not into that, that can be horrible. I went to a Fish show and fucking wanted to blow my brains out.
I'll tell you what it is, though. I think it's because people love Bill Walton so much, and he's such a character. Like if he's like, come to the Dead with me, you go to the Dead with me.
Yeah.
And everybody respected him. So they wanted him, like it was like him, like if like I was on the basketball team, Ween was in town, I'd be like, we're all going to Ween. And if everybody liked me, they'd go, you know?
So was Dennis Johnson there?
DJ, I don't know if he was there, but it was like Walton, McHale, Chief was there. The Chief said he was dancing. The Chief is very funny, by the way. Good show.
Well, you know who really should have been there?
Who's that?
Mr. Casey Jones.
Well, he was the coach.
Yeah, riding that train. They wrote a song about
it. He used to sing like crooner after every night at a nightclub there in Boston.
No, he should have got up there and sang his namesake on the Grateful Dead. All right, you guys want to get into some Current
March
shit.
Madness is over.
Current shit.
It's
Madness
over.
is over. You know what? Like, it sort of came in with a whimper, not a lot of upsets or anything, but that Final Four was fucking great.
Final Four championship game, both
Holy
bangers.
shit. All the heavyweights of the heavyweights battling it out. Duke choking.
Made a lot of people
And then
happy.
Houston choking when they were in a position to really win.
I don't think Houston choked though.
You don't think they choked? You think
I think they
overachieved?
choked a little bit. I think because
I disagree.
I think a little bit.
Nope.
Little
Nope.
bit.
Nope.
What do you think, Matty?
You don't think that like the final couple plays were big chokes?
I will say this. Florida, Duke, Auburn, some of these other schools, they get certain tier players, and Houston gets below those guys. So for what Houston to do what they did is incredible. And to get 1 point away or 2 points away from winning it all is incredible. And they knew they had to shoot a 3 there because they were gassed. And
yeah, but the guy pump fakes. He's got a clear path to the rim.
I understand that, but what Kelvin Sampson is thinking is, even if we take it in overtime, we are gassed. We have nothing left. He knows his team. He knows that Florida can play 9 guys. So it's like, you better win it now, because overtime is going to be very, very difficult because they're losing their lead the last 10 minutes of the game.
Sure.
So what they did is, like, to me, they have nothing to be ashamed of. They have nothing to hang their heads high. They should have never been in that position.
Why do you think they should have never been in that position?
Because they don't have the players that Duke and
they've been a perennial,
Matty,
really
they have
good program.
Yeah.
Not like Duke and Florida.
Okay, Duke. Okay, but dude, like Duke, of course, you're going to get these huge names that are like
Exactly.
17, 18-year-olds,
Mhm.
though. You know, like.
But I will say this, making a national championship better than they've done the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And they just got to win it. But they've been like Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, like mainstays.
Yeah, but they're not
mainstays.
It would be
They're
like
not
if
in
Gonzaga didn't, win it. You're going to keep, like, Gonzaga's there, like these teams are there. And I understand that they're mid-majors or whatever, but
I
like,
don't think
they still have money.
in my
yeah,
opinion,
especially Houston.
I don't think Houston's like roster measures up with Duke or Florida, like, on paper. So I think the coaching of Houston was great, and it's just like they played good enough to win. Just they ran out of gas with literally like a minute to go is when they.
I would be more on that. I mean, I'm on that a little bit, but I'd be more on that if Houston wasn't like a great team recently. Like, they've been a really great team.
I understand, but they would be more exposed if they play in the ACC, if they play in the SEC, if they play in the Big Ten.
But they make they make the Final Four all the time.
They don't
They
make
beat
the Final
Duke,
Four all the time.
they rallied
Matty, they
to
made
beat
it like
Duke too.
They make the
Like,
Elite Eight
twice.
all the time.
They made it
Sorry.
twice.
Like, I don't know. Houston's like one of those teams. They've been great for like the last 7 years.
And they don't make the Final Four all the time. This is the second time they've made it.
Yeah, but they made it like 4 years ago, and they've made the Elite Eight multiple times. And
I know, but
like,
again, it's like it's the difference. It's the difference of the Dodgers and even the Yankees. And I know that sounds crazy, but the Dodgers, what they spend compared to what the Yankees spend, the Dodgers are that much better. And I believe that Florida and Duke, for what they have, is that much better than Houston. I'm not saying Houston.
This though, like, I think what you're saying is fundamentally sounds correct, but I will say, like, if you don't, yes, you have these freshman phenom teams coming from, these bigger schools, but those guys often don't win because
I agree, but like with Duke, Cooper Flagg is the #1 pick this year or next year. They probably have a couple guys that are top 15. Houston might have one guy that gets drafted into the NBA.
I'll give this to you. The coaching at Houston's way better because guess what? In the same time span from 21 to 25, Duke's made the Final Four the same amount of times. They haven't made a national championship. They haven't made as many Sweet 16s. Like Houston is a good
Jim coming with them.
I feel like you're talking down to Houston a little bit. Like they're up there with those teams recently.
I think they're a tier, like a little tier below.
Would you put Houston like with Texas Tech?
Yeah.
The other like the Big 12 teams that have won natties?
Texas Tech lost.
Well, sorry, Baylor then.
Yeah.
Like,
I think little.
I feel like you're talking down.
Here's the tiers. There's Duke, Florida, Auburn. Now I know it's gonna sound crazy. I'll put North Carolina in that, even though they were shit.
Put Kansas there?
Even though they were shit, you sometimes your guys don't come through. But then the next tier is like Houston, Texas Tech, Michigan State this year, Purdue. Like they're in that tier. And then there's like Duke, Auburn, and Florida is like the top juggernaut tier. It'd be like in the NFL to make it easier. Our college football. We'll say Ohio State, who was really good this year. Oregon, Ohio State. Well, the SEC had a shitty year. Who had a good year in the who did they play in the national title game?
Texas.
No,
they played Texas.
No, Texas.
Texas was the semi. They played
I'll put Ohio
Notre
State,
Dame. They played
Texas.
Notre Dame.
See, like Notre Dame is usually like that tier. Remember when Notre Dame would always make it to the finals with Kelly?
So are you talking about like the money they spend, or are you what are you talking about?
Just the recruits and the players they have.
So you're just talking about like recruiting. You're not talking about like
again. It's like if those players take off after 1 year, and usually it takes them so long to mesh with other players, and
especially now with the transfer portal, a lot of those players are taking off and go to other schools.
Yeah,
well,
I'll be curious to see how Duke does next year when they Cooper Flagg was a literal phenom. He reclassified to be to play college this year. He was 17 for most of the year.
The roster of Duke and Florida is still better than Houston, in my opinion.
Yes, on paper though, too. Yeah. Like the thing is like these names will get drafted, right? And they will become. These guys aren't their names yet. A lot of them, their names, and they're on potential. Yeah, and they have not played within that system for a long time. I'll just say, I do think a mid-major could have an advantage of that. We've talked about that before, having the thing, and I think they should have got it done. I wish they would have gotten it. I love Kelvin Sampson. He said this creepy stalking coach.
Nobody ever talks about that anymore, but
I do. He's a creep. I looked it up again.
Yeah.
He got exonerated only from the Title IX charges because Title IX has to be very specifically tied into what you're doing during team
What
activity.
exactly did he get accused of?
So he would follow girls. He would take pictures of girls when they're jogging or in their car and then send them to him in through Instagram or something. Then he would
bizarre.
Then he would send pictures of his junk. So trust me, there's probably a lawsuit coming down that's going to blow this open a little more. This was just a Title IX thing. And then he had he would a girl, he would send a girl a DM, right? And then her post to kind of get her attention. And then he would unlike it later on to sort of avoid detection. This guy was very
married with kids.
Yeah, he is. Doesn't mean he can't be a stalker though.
I don't know much about it. We'll find out more.
I mean, Patino was married with kids, and he was forcing his assistant's wife to get abortions. So
yeah,
college basketball is a good place for scumbags.
Houston. The last 3 years, Houston's been a 1 seed. I'm sorry, I just can't. I'm still on it. I'm sorry.
All right, fair enough.
They've been a 1 seed.
Fair enough.
I do think that college basketball is the one sport where you can win as a mid-major or hockey, I guess.
Well, UConn.
Yeah, that's what.
UConn was dominant. Exactly. Villanova.
Yeah, Maddie, come on. Jim's making good points over here.
Yeah, but again, everything has changed in the last few years with the money.
UConn won last year.
They lost the last 2 years. They won the last
program. They're a massive program.
How Houston is massive.
Not like Duke.
UConn then. What the fuck are we talking
They're
about?
not getting the guys that Duke is getting. I'm just saying.
Is UConn?
Yeah, they will.
What do you mean they will?
I mean, even Duke is only good in basketball. Like that's
Pretty
it.
good at football.
They had a good year. They had a good year.
They get good
year.
once in a while, and then their
good
coach leaves.
5-year run.
That's what happens with Duke.
But it was the Houston Duke game was wild.
It was awesome.
It cost me a lot of money because I was in one of those pools where I had the final Florida beating Duke, and I was guaranteed like runner-up money no matter what if Duke won that game. So I could hedge in the championship. So fuck me big time. And it was just wild. I mean, to be up 6 with 30 seconds to go, that is pretty hard to blow a lead like that. I don't know how you can even do that with the ball.
That was a choke job.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a major choke job.
You could just feel it. It was just like it was slowly. And I had a friend that was a big Duke fan, and he had him like 6.5 and 5.5. And it's like, okay, we'll just get to 6.5. Then it's like, okay, just like win the fucking game. And it was just like, holy shit. They couldn't do, and then he started bitching about the calls. I'm like, no, you're missing foul shots, you're missing one-on-ones, you can't inbound the ball. You're up by 10 with 90 seconds to go, no excuses. You finish the job.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We got some but it was a great tournament though by the end there.
It was.
I think overall good tournament. Yeah. It's nice. Would you guys rather it start super chaotic and just be all in your face and be super energy and hype and everything and end with a putter, or start with a putter and end hype as fuck?
I like it chaotic the whole way, but
I would love it chaotic the whole way, but I feel like that rarely happens.
Even for a low scoring final game, it was still very.
And we'll see what kind of conversations we're having next year as far as, the NIL money teams and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Basketball, you only got to get good 5 good players, so it's a much more level playing field. And if you're a small school like a Houston, well, their football team gets good at certain times too, but like you could dump a lot of money just into basketball and be okay.
Are we going to talk about the other tournament that happened? The other basketball tournament that ended?
The NCAA Women's Championship with
Oh, sure. We can talk about that one.
Wait, there was another one?
The Crown, baby!
Yeah. Nebraska won.
Fucking Cornhuskers.
Oh, what is that? What's that game?
It was Fox's tournament, the Crown basketball tournament that happened in Vegas. The winning team gets $300,000 in NIL money for the players.
So what's okay?
You didn't know about this, Luke? You didn't know about the Crown?
You touched it. No, I don't. Like I didn't know about.
So it's a tournament that just started up this year. A bunch of teams went the NIT. So they did the Crown. Like Villanova was in it, Georgetown, Nebraska, a bunch of teams, and like. If you make it to the semis, you got $50,000. If you made the championship game, you got $100,000. If you won the championship game, you got another $300,000.
So, and that goes straight to the players.
That goes to the players. That goes straight to the players.
I love that model. I love that.
It goes straight to the players. Yeah. So the players got $450,000, and it was awesome.
What do you mean 450? You mean overall between all the teams?
For all the players? Yeah. Okay, no. The winning team got $450,000.
Love people getting paid. So Nebraska ladies won that, huh?
The Nebraska men's won that shit.
Oh, that was the men's tournament.
Yeah.
God. And they don't have that short Japanese basketball guy anymore?
No, he was in the audience though. He was there. He was watching.
You think he was
Japanese?
He wanted to know what his money was?
He's in the G League. He's like doing something.
Oh, is he?
I think he's on a G League team.
Well, anyway, since we're talking about this, UConn ladies, Lady Huskies.
Yeah, easy.
Dominant.
Beat the shit out of Dawn Staley's
that spread
South Carolina.
It was like 6.5, and it was like a 30-point game.
How do you say his name? Gino Auriemma. Auriemma back with another national title after he fucking ran that whole league forever.
Mm-hmm. Paige Bueckers gets her championship.
Yeah. Why do you think Paige Bueckers, who's really good looking too, doesn't get the attention of a Caitlin Clark?
Well, Caitlin Clark's better.
You think that's just it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both great, but
Yeah,
is a little better.
sure. I agree.
You really can't decide who the public is gonna fall in love with or follow. It's just the way it is. It's just there's sometimes no rhyme or reason.
Yeah. All right, we got
They find somebody better. That's it.
yeah. Got a few other things going on. The Nuggets fired Coach Malone.
Yeah, it's
Just a
shocking.
few, like 4
That was
games
kinda
left
wild.
in the season or something like that. Like, and they just won a championship 2 years ago.
I know.
So they
I
fired the
think
GM
the
too.
players control everything.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if Jokic even cares enough to complain, but everybody's just saying how much, he's doing some insane things this year, and it's all kind of being wasted because the team around him completely sucks now. And they made some bad moves a few years ago, and it just is now they're stuck with some bad contracts, including Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., amongst others. So the coach is gone. We'll see who replaces him, or if Jokic ends up in another spot. Matty, you're a hockey guy. Ovechkin beats Gretzky all-time scoring record.
Matty?
Holy shit.
What?
No, I'll this is wild.
Matty, what's going on?
What's
Sorry, I just saw something on the news. It's crazy.
What happened?
what?
It's my sister has a friend who's one time she's like, oh, the basis for Weezer is coming to some holiday party because
Okay.
she's friends with his wife, and I'm seeing Weezer bassist wife shot by police, booked for attempted murder.
What? Is that the original bassist, Matt Sharp?
No, his name is that Julian Lauren, wife of Weezer bassist Scott Schreiner, booked for attempted murder in April 2025. I gotta call my sister about that.
Oh, that's crazy. God, we should turn this into a true crime.
Anyhow, what we thought, yeah. Look, it's amazing because scoring was way down. Like what Gretzky used to score back in the day is crazy. So Ovechkin is awesome. Nothing more I could say. It was awesome seeing how great Gretzky was about it. Much better than Mark Gastineau handling his sack record.
Oh.
And, Ovechkin seems like a goofball, and really happy for
Well,
him.
Gretzky still holds the points record, right?
Yeah.
By a mile.
Oh yeah, with the assists.
Yeah, and everything. So that's probably going to stand.
Yeah.
Other news. Oh, it's time to feel good again. Trey Lance, our buddy Trey Lance, he found a home with the Chargers.
Happy.
Wayward home for quarterbacks.
It's amazing. These
another $5 million just for riding the pine and backing up Herbert this
crazy.
year. Kind of a bizarre move.
I was really hoping he'd make it to the UFL.
Maybe next year.
Maybe.
Who knows? I mean,
There's
it took him a while
hope,
to find a team this year, and Harbaugh likes those project quarterbacks, and he's whipped a few into shape. But you have a potential Hall of Famer with Herbert in front of him, so I don't know what the idea is here. I would rather just get
I'd get a veteran
an
back
established vet that because they're a playoff team now. So if Herbert goes down for a few games, you want a guy who can actually win you some games. Trey Lance, unproven commodity. I'm not sure what the thinking was there.
It doesn't make sense. Why does he keep getting chances? I'm sorry. What?
I know, right?
We haven't seen anything.
I know. I get fired from a job. I'm worried. This guy only has a few other places he can be employed and still gets employment. It's pretty weird, but also the American dream, I guess.
That's fair.
Jalen Milroe now picking up steam. This is why I fucking hate all the days leading up to the draft, because it just sort of elevates people who probably shouldn't be elevated because the media is just looking for news stories.
Jackson Dart's stock is rising.
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay. Jackson Dart was I liked him in college. He was fairly accurate, and I trust him a little bit. Milroe we've seen it a million times. He can run and throw the deep ball.
Yeah.
We know he throws a great deep ball. Don't get me wrong. He throws a fantastic deep ball. But everything we saw for years at Alabama, his intermediate passing was dog shit.
What round would you select him in where you would feel good about that?
Third, fourth.
I was gonna say third or fourth.
Did Joe Milton get traded?
Yeah.
Where'd he go? Cowboys, I think.
Talk about a guy with a cannon.
Yeah.
I love Joe Milton. Joe Milton only throws it one way, and that's with a fucking cannon.
It's
Whether
like
he's
they
throwing
switched him for
a
Trey
bomb
Lance.
deep or a screen pass, he's lighting
It's
that thing
funny,
up at 99 miles
this
per
league is
hour.
going to be filled with backup quarterbacks who should be playing linebacker. It's pretty funny.
I wish Joe Milton was in the UFL. He'd be slinging that thing.
Right?
Damn it.
Knocking people over. You guys ever watch UFC?
Oh, yeah.
Not a
Sometimes.
Do you remember BJ Penn?
No.
So BJ Penn was like early UFC when the UFC started to get their shit together and really started to become a really good product. But he was just a slick jiu-jitsu guy, really fun to watch. He would pull shit out of his ass, just so good at it. But appears to be suffering from some CTE, and now is publicly stating that his mother and brother are clones, and he's upset the police aren't doing anything to stop him. It's very bizarre
that happens
seeing
to a lot of guys. Like the guy Kyle Singer, a basketball player.
Yeah.
He made some crazy videos not too long ago where he's clearly mentally ill, and you hate to see something like that. It's just,
Is he already out of the league? I didn't even.
Yeah, it's just his videos are really disturbing.
Oh, that's terrible.
He's like shirtless, like mumbling, talking about people are out to get him, and it's mental illness will take you,
And the sad thing is the police can't do it. It's so hard to intervene on these things too.
Very hard.
You and I can sit back and go, okay, this person's they're batshit crazy.
Mhm.
They need help.
Yeah.
And the police, the way laws are now, they can't do anything unless this person actually does something bad. And usually it's going to be real bad before the police can actually do anything. So I don't know. Good luck, BJ. You were fun to watch. I hope you get the meds you need, the help you need. Oh boy, Jim, anything to add about the UFL?
Crazy. You guys caught on like on a crazy day. We had Greg Williams leaving the DC Defenders defensive coordinator position.
Fuck me, really?
I know. Dr. Heat out. He's going to join Reggie Barlow at Tennessee State. We knew that was going to happen, but it was earlier stated that he was going to wait out and like coach the whole season.
Why would a person leave a professional football team to go play at Tennessee State? Which
money probably, like the UFL is probably not paying
at
like
Tennessee
a ton.
State than at the UFL.
They're like a decent FCS school. They had Eddie George was there before.
Like, that's right. He coached there, right?
Yeah.
Where's Eddie George now?
I have no idea.
Did he not do well there?
No idea. Not great.
Okay, so he's probably.
But like they probably could pay like a couple 100,000 or hundreds of thousands. The UFL probably can't match what they can pay right now.
That's like a good career. Like even being a small school defensive coordinators.
Yeah,
really good career.
Yeah, like 100. Like it's good money.
You think University of Phoenix has defensive coordinator classes I could take and eventually become a DC myself?
Maybe. And then AJ Brown, the offensive coordinator, AJ Smith, I think the offensive coordinator for the Brahmas stepped down as well.
It's not
that is rumored to be maybe he might come back for like a head coaching gig because he's been in the league since 2020. He's been like dealing with like spring football. He's been OC doing stuff like that since 2020. He's like a product of June Jones, so he kind of runs like run and shoot style offense.
Okay.
There was rumors that he was like clashing, and then exciting games this week: DC versus St. Louis, another St. Louis home game. I'm excited. Big games.
All right, I'm also
big
excited.
Games. Kellen Mond benched yet?
Not yet, Matty.
He'll be there.
Not yet. Their backup's Jarrett Garantano from Washington State.
Oh,
by the way, real quick, just about the NIL and everything and college football and basketball. My brother-in-law went to North Carolina, where he's from, and his whole family are big UNC fans. And the word is that people are actually upset with Bill Belichick because they feel like there's more money in going to football than basketball, and people still like. It's a basketball school, so they're actually upset with him. I mean, will they be upset if he makes the college playoff and maybe wins a national title? Probably not, but it is interesting that there is a budget and it can kind of tap into
Just
other
wait till we
stuff.
get salary caps.
Yeah.
That's going to suck. And it's not really going to work either. Anyways, we got more important things to talk about here.
Around now. Oh, man, this guy's a tough dude.
But the reason why we're doing this television program now is not because he was a great wrestler that was a standout for years, but because he was in wrestling and then did some other batshit stuff.
Wrestler Tony.
Yeah,
This is an
batshit
interesting
stuff.
one.
The sweet sounds of Jim
I have
Cornette.
I have a lot of opinions on the great
He-
Ludwig Borga.
He is back, covering the dark side of the ring. We have
I'm so-
Ludvig Borga.
All-time name.
Let me
Yeah.
just say, like, I don't know if you remember him, Luke, but me and my friends,
No, I
We-
wasn't watching wrestling. That was
we
the time when I started to get
we-
boners
we
and I was not
loved
watching
him.
wrestling anymore.
we love Ludwig Borga, but we loved him because WWF was getting really bad at the time.
Yeah.
And we would like get in the lunch on Monday and do like impressions of him because it was kind of like Jean-Claude Van Damme, or like
Right.
there, like get to the chopper. So we would go, this filth, this pollution, this is your America, Lex Luger. It's disgusting. I mean, it was every generic bad guy from not from America that hates America, but it made no sense, like they said, because like
Right.
who cares about Finland?
This was my favorite dig he did when
Yeah.
he was working in WWE.
USA stand for in my continent. You stink a lot.
We just want to get a great
Viking. Yeah, he was very vanilla, and I'm going to say, because I love the Dabbleverse,
Yeah.
he would fit into the Dabbleverse because it seemed like he wanted to do anything to be famous. And it wasn't like there's stories like Chris Benoit. People will say, yeah, he's a monster, but he was an incredible wrestler, and he was, like technically one of the best. Ludwig Borga was a guy that was like, oh, I'm big, I can make money in wrestling. Let me
Sure.
get into this. Would never put the work, never really loved the craft. A lot like the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah. This one was a fascinating ride, though. It
Yeah.
has some of your stereotypical stuff that we've covered a million times when we
And then it
talk
does
about Dark Side. But then
Yeah.
there's all these like shit going on and going out of left field, like
It was a guy that really wanted to be famous. Like he would be famous. Like if he
By any means necessary.
Yes.
shot a school up, if people were talking about him, he'd be happy.
I'm a
And
good
that's
guy.
like the ultimate sick person.
He would have made it so big in the modern like influencer streaming era. He would have tried to be like he'd be your B tier influencer that's just doing everything they can, live streaming all the time, bugging people, just trying to get attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be great. He'd be probably Richie Paeta. Who was that guy that
I'm
took
trying like
steroids until his heart exploded?
yeah, he reminds you a lot of these Dabbleverse characters. Because it's like you're in wrestling, you suck at it, then you go into politics, then you go into this, then you go into that, then you realize like as long as you say crazy shit, there always will be like a market for you, and you keep getting kicked out of certain places, and then
Yeah.
you go to the next. But like wrestling is one of those things where he was like working out, and people are like, you can make quick bucks being a wrestler, and he goes, fuck, let me try it.
Yeah, this guy was really honestly ahead of his time as
He was.
as we'll see as we go through his story. So this guy was born in Finland, and he ended up coming so he's basically just the weird thing about him is that, and it'll be weird later on as you'll
Yeah.
see, but he was his mom was Swedish, and he It's weird because these countries are, Sweden and Finland right next door to each
Or
other,
what?
two of the most snow white people you'll
Yeah.
find on the planet. But apparently he was an outsider from being, his mom's from Sweden, and he grew up speaking Swedish because he went to a Swedish school in Finland. So, and this guy, he wanted a lot of respect and he wanted people to admire him and love him. So he started working out. And he trained karate and he brawled. And there were even like stories about him and his buddy just clearing out bars, just brawling and doing karate. And it was pretty hysterical. Some of the
And then he moved
recreations.
to America
Yeah.
for Taxi Driver, the movie.
He loved the movie Taxi Driver. He thought he was like De Niro in that. He loved Schwarzenegger, so he moved to Venice Beach and started working out at the Gold's Gym down there.
Wouldn't that be cool if they recasted Taxi Driver with Tony Miali?
That would be
That would
interesting.
be awesome.
You talking to me?
He he appeared. He started getting some work in TV shows and commercials. I didn't know.
Die Hard 2, baby.
Well, more
I knew
importantly,
that.
the new WKRP in Cincinnati, which I didn't know was ever even a show.
Well, you know, it's like I tell my friend Danny, who's like 380 pounds. I'm like, you can get work if you lay into being a fat guy, you will get a lot of work. And like, if you look like him, you will always get a part because if like big, scary European guy that's like big, muscular, bulky guy, you will always get that job. Like, there's only five
Yeah.
guys you're competing against.
What's funny about this guy was like he looked a lot like Brock Lesnar if Brock
Mhm.
Lesnar just ate every night at the Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Like he was really big and muscular, but also fat too. It was like he tried to be a bodybuilder originally, but it just didn't take. He didn't have the discipline to
Well, I gotta say, when I'm skipping a little, but when he was in WWF and they had him run against Lex Luger, where Lex Luger was basically an uninspired Hulk Hogan doing the
yeah.
America bullshit. And he was the scary foreign heel, him and Yokozuna. And Yokozuna was a much better wrestler heel.
Yeah.
Ludwig Borga and Lex Luger, like, it just didn't move. Like, my friends and I thought it was funny because it was so bad, but it just didn't move like where, like, when Hulk Hogan fought Iron Sheik or Nikolai Volkov, you felt like, granted, I was like a kid, but it was USA versus Russia. It was USA, like, we were chanting USA like with our heart. And then this was just so bad.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, that was I wasn't watching wrestling at that point, but we'll circle back to that in a minute. So he starts wrestling. He starts wrestling in the UWF with Herb Abrams.
Yep.
What's Herb's nickname?
Mr. Electricity, Mr.
Yeah,
Excitement.
right. No, I know
Damn
you
right.
love saying that. So Herb Abrams, and we'll get back to why that's funny in a minute. But then he heads to Japan, and oh, here come the drugs. This is where the drugs start, the uppers, the downers, the painkillers, all that fun stuff. So there was a disputed story in Japan where Victor Borga was a dick,
Yeah.
and apparently Scott Norton wasn't taking him. I don't know if you guys remember him.
I remember Scott from
He's
the.
a little bit of a generic wrestler.
Well, he was in the
He's
episode.
in the NWO.
They fought in Korea.
What's that?
He was in the Korea episode.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Like, they had to get him out of Korea because he said the wrong things and they almost killed him.
So Scott says he cleaned his clock. Other stories say the opposite, but I'll choose to believe Scott.
The truth is somewhere in between.
Yeah, somewhere in between. So he goes back to America. He gets a divorce from his first wife after she found out that he was just a complete piece of
And
shit,
she
cheating
does
on him all
not
the
have a lot of
time.
nice things to say about
No, she
No.
didn't have one nice thing to
Like,
say about
if you
him.
watch Ultimate Warrior one, he was an asshole, and she still like loves him to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's one thing if you can see the good in people and then they maybe actually show they're good from time to time. But if you're just never show any good, then yeah, I'm not going to get nice things spoken about you after you die and you're on a Dark Side of the Ring episode. Okay, so he joins the WWE. This guy just keeps failing upward in life too. Like he gets kicked out of Japan because he sucked.
Like Stuttering John.
Yeah, then they thought Vince McMahon loved these foreign bad guys in WWE. Gets pushed right into a big fight with Lex Luger. He gets to squash Tanaka after Tanaka had a 2-year undefeated.
Tonka.
What's his name?
Tatanka. Another shitty, like, Vince, like, the great North Indian, Native American.
Right.
It was like, he had, like, I have this feather. It is given to me by Chief Wahoo to make me brave. And it was so cheap.
Well, he was Tatanka leaned into that in this episode. He's like, the Americans love me because I was Native American and everything. I never even knew he was actually Native American because they would stick any Italian guy in a feather in his hair and call him.
The point is, like, when a guy
gets
squashed that bad.
What's that?
His career, when a guy gets squashed, like they let Borga squash him like that.
Yeah.
It kind of like takes away the luster of the zeal,
oh yeah, no. I mean, if you're Tatanka and you got a 2-year win streak, like you're on your way to like a intercontinental championship at that point.
It destroyed him
in time. Yeah, and then you're done. Yeah.
They made him a bad guy afterwards because he couldn't get heat anymore. And they sacrificed him for Borga, and Ludvig Borga stunk.
Terrible. So he's just shitty in the promos. He's just overall shitty. And then the people backstage discover he's got an SS tattoo on his fucking calf.
That's not going to fly.
And there were plenty of Jewish people in the productions and wrestlers and stuff too.
There's Raven. Scotty Flamingo's Jewish.
Was Raven there by that point?
And what's that guy?
Raven wasn't around at that point, was he?
He was in ECW at the time.
I don't remember. Well, I didn't know Raven was Jewish. That's fantastic.
Hold on, I'm gonna look him up. He was a jobber, but then he finally won a match.
All right.
Barry Horowitz.
Oh yeah, the Widowmaker.
Horowitz wins, and Randy Macho Man Savage.
Oh, that's right. That's true. That is true. So they get him right the fuck. He injured, like after the fight with Lex Luger, he was wrestling with Scott Steiner or hurts his ankle. And they're like, okay, that's a great excuse to get him the fuck out of here. So they cut him. He joins UFC and then he fights Randy Couture in one fight. Randy Couture is a legend in UFC. Right. Just takes him down right away and chokes him out. Apparently, Ludwig said he would never submit, and then he, of course, submitted in under a minute. Fucking right. So that was his one.
Be famous in any way.
What's that?
He's just trying to be famous. Yeah.
Everywhere he goes, he wants attention, even if it means getting your ass beat. He marries a Finnish woman and then gets thrown in jail for guns and drugs, and then
he also has to leave America too.
Yeah, he gets deported. Yeah. So he gets supported, right? And you're like, okay, you'll never hear from this guy again. He's got to go back to fucking Nowheresville, Finland. Oh, no, he is not done yet. Some say he's just getting started. He joins the cast of Finnish Gladiators, which of course is American Gladiators, but in Finland, and becomes a huge, they love him. He goes by the Viking. That's what he always wanted to be, a Viking. He starts recording. He records like a goofy song, like a dance song that talks about him just pounding testosterone or something like that. And it goes viral before the internet was even a thing. It got huge, makes him a very big star in Finland. He writes an autobiography that's just a bunch of made up bullshit and embellishing on things, just talking about all the women he's had and all the cool fights he's won. Then, the kicker, he runs for office, but he's like on this anti-immigration thing. So He's like, this is like Trump must have watched this thing and went to like said, okay,
that's what I was thinking too. Like Trump, like everybody's like Trump changed politics. Tony, whoever the fuck his name is, Tony Miola changed.
Ludvig Borga changed politics.
Ludvig Borga was 30 years ahead of the time.
Yes.
He called his opponent a lesbian or a pussy eater or something.
Right. And he's like, and then like somebody called him out. He's like, well, I didn't say it was a bad thing. It's like, and then he goes, it's like, and then you call me a white supremacist. Well, that's like calling an N-word the N-word or some shit like that. And it's like, what? He's just saying this in TV interviews. He's going on nonstop interviews. He doesn't remember anything he fucking says from interview to interview. So he's all lying and just saying terrible shit. And he gets called out on it. He just like rolls his eyes or whatever. And he just keeps getting more popular. His campaign people were, and he wins. He becomes a member of fucking parliament.
Yeah.
In Finland. I mean, he made Trump look tame. He made Trump look like Abraham Lincoln or something. Like it was just insane the shit that would come out of this guy's mouth.
Yeah, it's something else. I mean, I was thinking about like, this is like, he sounds very Trumpian and like just saying the most outrageous stuff in a place where, for years, going up to Obama, who did Obama run against?
McCain.
He ran against Dole, right?
No, John McCain.
McCain. Okay, McCain, and then
Romney.
And Mitt Romney. So like when they would do debates, it was very, very cordial. There was like, it was handshakes with due respect, with respect. And then Trump just changed it into like, and he was doing this 25, 30 years ago. So he's
the pioneer. Borga. We should credit Borga.
He really is. Like the one thing you can say, a horrible wrestler, like thinking of 1994 WWF, everybody will tell you Vince McMahon, Cornette, whatever, they'll be like, this was the lowest, darkest time. I went to a WWF event at a high school gym in 1994, like when Borga was around. So like, it's a terrible wrestler, but I will give him this, that like he invented a style of politics for better or worse. I mean, probably for worse, it's just like not giving a fuck and saying, like, calling your opponent a lesbian with like, I think she was married too, or and not just calling her a lesbian, saying like she looks pussy or something.
Yeah, yeah. Then he's like, I didn't say it was a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean the movies are great.
Oh boy. So of course and the funny thing about this is like this was the time when the EU was created. So you had in what were these snow white countries of Scandinavia, now you were getting a lot more diversity with immigration and whatnot. So he just sort of had his pulse on the finger of racist voters, apparently, and really hit that. And he was really, everything timed out perfectly for him because in that time period, like as far as wrestling goes, in that time period, you didn't have to be good. You just had to be jacked up on steroids. I mean, he was
searching for whatever could make him famous.
Like there was an opportunity at that time where you didn't have to have talent to participate in certain things, and then it's just amazing where this guy was just fitting into all these.
I mean, the other thing too is like if you take the first two of this season. So you have Mick Foley, who's like a lovely teddy bear of a man, even though I wasn't happy of some of the shit he did, putting his family through these matches. But they were both obviously not like gifted wrestlers. They're not Shawn Michaels. They're not, Austin, Razor Ramon, Bret Hart. Like these are like technical wizards of the mat. But what Mankind did, because he really cared about wrestling, and even to get the respect of Cornette, who's the ultimate traditionalist, is like he took what he could do and gave so much to wrestling that everybody had to applaud it, because he was he was like taking what he could do best, which is like ridiculous falls and bumps, and doing it, where Borga just most of the stuff he ever did was the most minimal effort, especially
And yet
wrestling.
he kept getting work wherever he
I
went.
know.
So things are starting to catch up to him, though, because although he is on the rise, he's a member of parliament. He's also still got that drug and alcohol problem in the background, and he starts to kind of uh, go in on it a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then he had offered to do a exhibition boxing match with one of his old sparring partners. He just gets beat up,
Yeah.
and then I think he's probably embarrassed. So then he goes on like a 2 week fucking bender. Like you're a
Yeah.
member of parliament, and you just go on a 2 week
Well,
fucking drug and
he's a lot like
alcohol
a
bender.
Chad Zumach was a uh I know I always use analogies of Dabbleverse guys, but like Chad Zumach right now wants to do a basketball game versus Ray DeVito. And he
Okay.
he has a show bitch like making fun of Ray, but he needs money. So it's like, come on, Ray, play me 1-on-1. It's like, yeah, you just want to take like you're using
Right.
him to make like a quick $1,000. And that's all Borga's doing. Like
Yeah.
he's just like, where can I make money? Here, there, there. There's no real passion, effort. It's just to keep his name going and to make money.
So this is my favorite part of the story here. So he comes back from that bender,
Yeah.
and his wife is like so pissed, of course, and she's like saying she's gonna leave him. And she tries to like go out the door, and he like grabs a gun, and they struggle, and the gun goes off, and nobody gets hit by the gun. But guns are very serious. They're not a gun country like we are here. So if
No.
you fire a gun, something bad's you're going
Yeah.
to be in some trouble. But during that, he somehow during that event he like swallows his own puke,
Ugh.
and it fucks him up, and he goes he gets all these infections and goes into a coma. So he's like fucking pulls a Bon Scott, and the drummer from Spinal Tap goes into a coma, wakes up, and when he wakes up, he is not the same guy. He's not like the quick-witted, talking guy. He's a lot more quiet. He doesn't have all his faculties with him like he did before, and it's bad. He's just really a kind of a slow person at this point, and he gets sentenced to months in jail, has to resign from parliament. And then after that, it was just like a quick slide downhill. He was doing appearances at small bars, and then and eventually nobody really cared who he was. His
Sounds like
buddy
the
would have to
Dabbleverse.
go stuttering John all the way. His buddy would have to go pick him up in the bar. He'd be passed out in the corner with his pants, pissing his pants and stuff. Like,
He would have loved the internet.
yeah.
He would
Oh,
have been an
he
internet sensation.
might still be alive today.
Because you
Who
know what's
knows?
funny is like I was thinking about this episode today, like how I would talk about him because these guys, like this is part of my life. And when guys like that disappeared, nowadays, everything that happens with wrestlers, athletes. You're like, why is this guy not here? Like wrestling, you'd be like, oh, did you hear CM Punk left the WWE because of this or whatever? Back then, guys just disappeared, and you're like, whatever happened to Ludvig Borga? He just disappeared one day, and he did, and you didn't know anything about it. I heard that he was in a movie. He was in Die Hard 2. You're like,
Right.
did you know Lou? But that's all you knew. But I didn't know it. Nobody knew any of this shit that was going on in Finland. You were just like, what the fuck happened to him? One day he's in the main event versus Lex Luger, and the next day they don't talk about him like he never existed. And that was something that Vince would do. Like guys would be like in main events, and then the next day, you wouldn't know because there was no internet.
Oh, he'd love to do that with bad guys to go
Yeah.
up against Hulk and all that. Yeah. He'd just bring people in and spit them back out.
And nobody knows what happened to him. And we would have known. Like I would have followed him. I would have been like, oh my God, he's insane.
Yeah, you'd have been like, hey, Dave Caston, did you
Yeah.
see this guy? Can you believe what he did today?
You're 1,000,000% right.
So, unfortunately, after I think a few years of just going downhill and becoming irrelevant, which is probably the worst thing that would happen to him.
That's correct.
He did kill himself. And,
You know, the best thing about one of the best line in the OJ Simpson 5-part ESPN documentary, his ex-manager said about OJ, he said he was never hurt the most when he was on trial for murder. He was hurt the most when he was living in Florida and people like forgot about him and didn't care about him anymore. And all these guys are the same. Like, as long as people are talking about him and they're doing bad things, they don't care because people are talking about him.
It has got to be such a weird feeling when you are famous and you go anywhere and people are giving you free stuff. They're kissing your ass. All the women are all over you. All the guys are hanging out, want to buy you beers or whatever. And then you go to these same places a few years later and no one looks twice at you.
You know, it's funny. It's like watching the Red Sox thing. They do a really good job what it's like to be an athlete, because there's a moment with this guy Tristan Casas, who's a total bizarre guy, and he's the one helping the guy with the car, and you hear a couple fans are like kind of walking by and they're like, that's Tristan Casas. So like he hears people talking about it, and they're like, oh, he's the greatest hit. Like they're shitting on him because he's having a shitty start, and they're like, he's the greatest hitter of all time. Like he's better than so-and-so.
Right.
And they're just like shitting on him, and you can hear it. So sometimes you're getting everything. And then sometimes, you know, people like, you want to be left alone. You go 0 for 5 and people are telling you you suck. And being famous is weird, but people love being famous. They want to be talked about. They want to be everybody. It's just, it's like an endorphin. It's like I put on those ticket stubs because I want to get some love.
Yeah, it's bizarre, man. It's
and he's one of those guys, like before the internet, he wanted to be internet famous. It's amazing. I see it.
So, yeah, like no one had a good thing to say about him in this. I'll play a couple.
One friend that was a scumbag like him that like
this guy was like missing all of his teeth.
It's like
that makes him a bad guy.
How do I put this? We didn't want to be known as how can I put this delicately? Faggots.
Right. Yeah. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. How do I put this in a nice way?
Yeah. That was his nice way of saying. Holy shit. All right, I'll play a couple clips of his wife here too.
Yeah, she didn't have nice things.
Hold on. And we'll get back to it. I'm going to play one clip and then we'll talk about that again because I kind of blew that opening there.
Why would somebody get an exit-only tattoo on their rear end? Why?
Love the horns at the end of that.
The music was amazing.
The music really was like made this a lot of shit very slapsticky almost. It was really funny. Yeah. So in this app, at one point he was just so he just was. This guy might have been like.
I'll tell you this: if he's like somehow either in heaven or hell, I'm not gonna say where he is because only God can judge you. Sure. So I don't know if he's in heaven or hell. But I will guarantee this, and this is the crazy thing about these characters. Like, that's like, there's probably 3 sentences that's positive about him in this thing. And I guarantee if he watched this, he would have loved it.
Oh,
he would have loved it. He would have been so proud of it. He would think it's amazing.
Yeah, because people are talking about him. You know,
exactly.
There's people that have wronged me, and I would love to go back and say, fuck you, you fucking asshole.
But would you want to watch an hour of people just shitting on you?
No, but I'm saying is that attention alone would validate that part of that they made an impact, on something, even if it was completely negative.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to watch an hour of me like negative shit about me.
No, you can't.
I don't like one comment about me.
One ambiguous tweet and you melt down.
Exactly.
So yeah, he basically got a tattoo on, like, that was a tramp stamp on his lower back that said exit only. I've never.
And it's it's also funny. Herb Abrams, obviously being part of the tribe, they never cared. It was just like whatever. If you can
No,
make
you're
money, who
yeah,
gives a
right.
fuck?
Imagine Herb Abrams seeing that SS tattoo. He's probably like,
Dude,
"Oh yeah, we can build you up as a Nazi."
if Hitler could draw money, I'd fucking use him.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. All these guys would. They're fucking obsessed with it. Um, I got one more clip from his wife, and this was basically the outro of the episode here.
Because he was a piece of shit and he burned the bridges. You know, he treated people horribly.
Ma uskon, että
Yeah, there was some big Viking woman in this episode too that I think Jim probably creamed his jeans.
Oh, Jim
I
was
did.
definitely-
I did. I did. I was very happy.
Jim slapped it to her all weekend.
Oh my God, this woman could carry me across the
You know,
threshold.
I'm gonna toot Jim's horn one more time. He's like the ween of comedy. He has these like parody videos. He has a self-help one of like this like guru like yoga music with like wind chimes, and he's like picking the games like a.
There's no Matty. It was a relaxing video.
It was funny.
Yeah.
Man, you
It was
should
very
start live
good.
streaming some
I
of
hope
your
you
yoga.
Appreciate
like-
you.
You should do like a Revenge of the Nerds parody, like the rap video.
I should do a music like
Just do a rap
preview.
video.
I should do one where I do like 3 different genres of music or something like that. That might be one that I have.
Start
Or
with
you
a
should do something
311.
where you're trying to get an NIL deal.
Start with
Yeah,
311,
you do a video
Jim.
you should do a video about how like you never knew about who 311 are and you just learned about them. Now you want to like interview them. What's it like being the only famous band from Nebraska?
Are they still using that fucking shit snare too? That just sounded like that snare. You know what I'm talking about? That snare tone that was like just sounded like metal clanking against
Yeah.
metal almost.
Ugh.
Yeah, I hate the worst snare of all time is Metallica Saint Anger.
I've never listened to one of those songs. I didn't even know.
It's so bad. It's like a snare should not have any kind of echo or reverb.
Yeah.
This is the worst sounding snare I've ever heard.
The only good use of an alternative snare was that Judgment Night, Just Another Victim. That was good.
Judgment.
Because that really that Just Another Victim song's the fucking shit. So all right, you
very good
guys, that was a
episode.
really fun episode of Dark
It
Side.
was a good one.
We got Van Vader next week.
This seems more like a John like earthquake kind of
Right.
just bad health.
Yeah.
As opposed to crazy drama. But the Ludvig Borga is great. And
That
it's-
was awesome. That I gotta say, I think that moves into my top 5.
I would say top 10 for me.
Top 10. We'll
Herb
see. I
Abrams
would have
number
to
one.
see. I mean, it's been 6 seasons, but the fact is it 6? This is season 6?
Yeah, it's 6.
Yeah,
New
the
Jack
fact
number
that
2.
like you're still getting episodes like this that make me really excited.
Dude, there's
pretty
tons more
amazing.
stories.
Yeah.
There's tons more guys.
There's an infinite amount of stories, it feels like.
No, I mean, if you wrestled, you got a story. I want to hear
Yeah.
it. You know,
I mean, they'll
That's
do
good.
one on Razor someday.
they didn't do a Razor one already.
Not yet. Just that he was kind of in the airplane ride, but he doesn't have his own one yet. You know, he shot a guy. He killed a guy for
he was a
self-defense
bodyguard?
outside of a strip club.
That's funny. Maybe I just went through a phase where I was watching so many Razor videos. I thought there was a dark side on him. But
No, but he's
I
in a lot.
guess-
Like
I'm
he's a
sure that
second-
one's coming down the pike.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Maddie's right. He's like a secondary or tertiary character in a lot of different episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, guys. Anything to add before
Words.
we go?
Much love. See you next week.
All right,
Masters
see you
Week,
guys.
boys.
All right.
Masters.
Go Phil Mickelson. Go Tiger Woods.
Go
Go
call him
Greg Norman.
Morikawa. Go call him Morikawa, baby.
All right.
All right, guys. We'll see you
Money
all
on it.
next week for another exciting edition of the Sports Hole.
Sports Hole.
I got it.